ज्ञानाञ्जन चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सार्वधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we have to do text 11, no? Text 11. अव्यक्तरस सिन्धूनां भूतानां निधनस्य च उदारं विदितं पुंसो हृदयं मनसा पदम्. Can somebody read translation?
The impersonal feature of the Lord is the abode of great oceans, and his belly is the resting place for the materially annihilated living entities. His heart is the abode of subtle material bodies of living beings. Thus, it is known by the intelligent class of men.
Yes, so here Avyakta also means, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Avyakta also means Pradhan. And Prabhupada write, here Avyakta means the night of Brahma. Means when Brahma goes to sleep, there is partial annihilation takes place. Okay. And the living entities, they come into that, there is all dark, completely dark. So, and at the end of every Brahma's night, there is a partial dissolution. Okay, and when Brahma wakes up, then again he creates, and means one day of Brahma is Kalpa. When he wakes up, again he does the creation. Okay, can somebody read the purport in Bhagavad Gita?
In the Bhagavad Gita 8.17-18, it is stated that according to human calculations, one day of Brahma is equal to 1000 ages of 4 millenniums, 43 lakh years each, and the same period is calculated to be his night also. A Brahma lives for 100 such years and then dies. A Brahma, who is generally a great devotee of the Lord, attains liberation after such a downfall. The universe, called the Brahmanda, or the round football-like domain controlled by a Brahma, is thus annihilated, and thus the inhabitants of a particular planet or of the whole universe are also annihilated.
So they go into the stage that is also called Pradhan. It's not like Mahavishnu for the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. They just they go into that interior state. This verse in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse in chapter 2. Avyakta Dhini. I forgot the verse.
Universe, after universe getting annihilated, then they should go to body of Mahavishnu, no?
Exactly.
You
So
are saying Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
No. This is partial, no? One day of Brahma. not complete universe. When complete universe go, then it goes to Mahavishnu. So every after 4 millennium, 4 lakh, 300,000. 4 million, if you calculate Satyug, Tretayug, Dwaparik, Kalyug, it comes to 432000000. Why Prabhupada writes? Everywhere Prabhupada writes 4,300,000. One person came, devotee. He said, see, Prabhupada is contradicting. He said to me like this, actually you calculate, it comes to 432000000 something. But here it is 43. So in mathematics, there is called approximation value. Like pi is, no, we make it into. So Prabhupada writes in approximation value. He is not writing the remaining 2000. He's writing an approximate. Well, because I searched in folio, everywhere it is 43,000. Everywhere. But actually, if you see the yuga, it comes to, if you see, it comes to 432000000. That's the complete. Okay, the double zero doubles, one Divya Yuga. Okay, so Brahma is there. So they go. So there is a verse, so they stay in their interior state. And then see Brahmand, Prabhupada, right, is round like a football. In spite of when I was teaching cosmology, devotees saying, how can earth is round? It is, I said, it is given in Bhagavatam also. He said, and when I was telling them that, earth does not move, not even on its axis. So when devotee was not believing only. Then I told him, when you go to astrologer, you say no. That astrologer say, beta, sun has gone in this house, that house. He never say earth is gone. So I said, see, there also no. So earth does not move. Still, I tried to convince, I showed him, see in the Bhagavatam also. But later then he was thinking. So even devotee don't believe this. Some devotee. So earth is round. Our earth is round and Brahmand also round. Okay. So Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph, the human life is meant for making solution to this repeated changes of bodies and thereby attaining place in spiritual sky. Like Brahma goes to sleep, partial dissolution, Brahma wakes up, all this, again they're taking bodies. So where so Prabhupada says, so the real solution is to go home, back to Godhead. Everything is eternal, blissful, full of knowledge. In other words, subtle forms of living entities rest within the heart of Supreme Being. And such forms take tangible shape at the time of creation. So subtle forms, when I showed, in Garbhodaksha Vishnu's body, there are subtle forms are there. So he mirrors his consciousness in Hiranyagarbha. So it is in there. So it is in the subtle there. So then they manifest during time of creation. Okay, text number 12. Dharmasya mama tubhyam cha kumaranam bhavasya cha vijnanasya cha sattvasya parashyatma parayanam. Can somebody read conscious this translation?
Also, the consciousness of that great personality is the abode of religious principles, mine, yours, and those of four bachelors, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar, and Sanandan. That consciousness is also the abode of truth and transcendental knowledge.
Yes. So all the thing is there in Virat Roop. So also the consciousness of that great personality means that personality here is refers to the Virat Roop. So he's conscious, so that everything is there within that. Okay. Okay, text 13, 14, 15, 16. Aham bhavan bhavaschaiva ta ime muna yograja surasura naranagaha kagamriga shirishripaha Gandharva Gandharva Pasrasho Yaksha Rakshabhuta Gno Ragaha Pashava Pitara Siddha Vidyadharas Charana Drumaha Anyacha Vivida Jiva Jalasthala Nabhaukashaha Grahaksha Ketavastaras Tadita Sthanit Navaha Sarvam Parusha Evedam Bhutam Bhavyam Bhavachayat Tenedam Avritam Vishwam Vitastim Adhistishtati. Can you read the translation?
Beginning from me, Brahma, down to you and Bhava, Shiva, all the great sages who were born before you, the demigods, the demons, the nagas, the human beings, the birds, the beasts, the reptiles, etc., as well as all phenomenal manifestations of the universes, namely the planets, stars, asteroids, luminaries, lightning, and thunder, along with the inhabitants of the different planetary systems, namely the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Bhutaganas, Uragas, Pashus, Pitas, Siddhas, Vidyadhara, Charanas, and all other different varieties of living entities, including the birds, beasts, trees, and everything that be. All are covered by the universal form of the Lord at all times, namely past, present, and future, although He is transcendental to all of them, eternally existing in a form not exceeding 9 inches.
Yes, 9 inches. So this last word, no, Vishitam Adhishtati. So 9 inches, some it is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur translates it is 10 fingers. The verse is there in Purusha Sukta, no? Purusha Vedagam Dashangulam. So Vishwanath, so Dashangulam, previously I told you it's some commentator translate as yojanas. We're extending unlimited yojana. This means it's referred to Mahavishnu also. The Mahavishnu is unlimited beyond the universe. Plus within the universe also, he is extending up to the earth layer. 9 inches up to the earth layer. Plus one commentator said that between Satyalok and earth crust, there is 10 fingers short. And Prabhupada writes about this, about 9 inches as super soul, Shiradakshay Vishnu. So it refers to all the three Vishnu. Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Shiradakshay Vishnu, plus the universal form. Okay. And the purport from the second paragraph, Prabhupada as it is translate Sridhar Swami's commentary. As it is. It is. Okay. Can somebody read the purport?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his partial representation as the Super Soul measuring not more than 9 inches, expands his potent energy in the shape of the universal form, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic and inorganic materials.
This line is from Sridhar Swami. This and next. Till the manifested material creation is just Sridhar Swami's commentary is Prabhupada's translate. Read. Continue.
The manifested varieties of the universe are therefore non-different from the Lord, just as golden ornaments of different shapes and forms are non-different from the original stock reserve of gold. In other words, the Lord is the Supreme Person who controls everything within the creation, and still he remains the supreme separate identity, distinct from all manifested material creation.
So like he still create everything as Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and still he create through this universal form, but still is aloof as a personality.
In the Bhagavad Gita, he is therefore said to be Yogeshwara. Everything rests on the potency of Lord Sri Krishna, and still the Lord is different from and transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purusha Sukta of the Rig Mantra, this is confirmed. This philosophical truth.
Now you understand why it is written confirmed. Purusha Sukta confirmed. Because it is in the Bhagavatam. There is Purusha Sukta in Taittiriya Upanishad also. There are various Upanishad also talks about some verses of Purusha Sukta. Like Rig Vedic verses, this comes in 19th mandal. Rig Veda has 10 mandalas. This comes in there, 9th mandal, in 19th chapter it comes. So this Purusha Sukta is very in a different form, is also mentioned in Yajurved. Same verses, but little changes are there. This is there everywhere. Okay, and you are talking about Lord Shiva as a universal form. It is Mahavishnu only, which they are almost, but they are see as Lord Shiva, because Shiva is also the ingredient cause. Like if you have a mat, the mats ingredients. The mat as a mat is Lord Shiva. The mat's qualities and all that is Krishna, and the mat's form is Lakshmi. So I mean that's Durga only. So these things are there. Because later I found it is there. So they say in that angle. So because in the Ling Puran they say there was a big ling. So that is Mahavishnu. So because that is the shining effulgence that comes out as this universal form in the right side of Mahavishnu. Okay. Okay, read, continue.
This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is known by Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Brahma, Narada, and all others are simultaneously one with the Supreme Lord and different from him. We are all one with him in quality, just as the gold ornaments are one in quality with the stock gold, but the individual gold ornament is never equal in quantity with the stock gold. The stock gold is never exhausted, even if there are innumerable ornaments emanating from the stock, because the stock is Purnam, complete. Even if Purnam is deducted from the Purnam, still the Supreme Purnam remains the same Purnam. This fact is inconceivable to our present imperfect senses. Lord Chaitanya therefore defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable, and as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya's theory of achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is the perfect philosophy of the absolute truth.
Yes. Where does this Achintya Bheda Bhed is used? Where generally it is used? Hmm? Where it is used generally? Like we say, no, simultaneous one devotee is saying this temple, that temple is simultaneously one and different. So where does it use? Where does generally it is used? Pardon? Yes, quality and quantity. But in sense what? In which whose quality and whose quantity? Huh? Okay. This relation with Lord and his energies. Generally, Jiva Goswami said is used in relation with Lord and his energies. This is used. Generally, it is used there. Some people use for the object and its qualities also, but generally it is not. Okay, okay, text 70. Swadishnyam Swadishnyam Pratapan Prano Bahischa Pratipatyasau Evam Virajam Pratapams Tapte Antar Bahipuman.
The sun illuminates both internally and externally by expanding its radiation. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding his universal form, maintains everything in the creation, both internally and externally.
Yeah, so this universal form is energized. Like we have Kundalini chakras, no? So universal form also has the Kundalini chakra, that is Shishumar, which is moving inside universal form. That acts like a Kundalini chakra, which energizes the universal form. And it is energizing by three Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Dravya Shakti. So in the beginning, we saw elements, mind and sense devata, but there is a potency to that them to exist, them to work, that is Jnana Shakti. And the intelligence, life force, and 10 senses to exist, to work, all these things are done because by Kriya Shakti. And the elements and their attributes to exist and function, everything is because of this. Behind them, the potency is Dravya Shakti. So Vishwanath Chaitanya Thakur explained it is all happening because of these three Shaktis. Plus, the chakra which and this dolphin is transcendental. It is like a Sat Kundalini of universal form. Universal Kundalini of universal. Okay, somebody read purport.
The universal form of the Lord, or the impersonal feature of the Lord known as the Brahma Jyoti, is clearly explained here and compared to the radiation of the sun. The sunshine may expand all over the universe, but the source of the sunshine namely the sun planet or the deity known as Surya Narayan, is the basis of such a radiation. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is the basis of the impersonal Brahmajyoti radiation or the impersonal feature of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14:27. So the universal form of the Lord is secondary imagination of the impersonal form of the Lord. But the primary form of the Lord is Sham Sundar, with two hands playing on his eternal flute.
Why it is called the universal form as impersonal form? Because it is created from Brahma Jyoti. Okay, because it is shining. I don't know, it's based on Garbhodaksha Vishnu, it's manifested there. He what do you say, mirror his consciousness in this universal form, reflects his consciousness in the universal. Yes, yes. That is conscious, bro. Like because no, it's Garbhodaksha Vishnu, but it is shining. So that is the shine is Brahma Jyoti, because it is from the Lord. Because it is composed, is shining. It's composed of those. If you read the commentary on Purusha Shukta by Vishwanath Thakur, he has this commentary. There he says this universal form, this is shining. All the elements are shining. They are golden because they are energies. So shining means the effulgence. Okay, it's golden. So Bhagavadaksha Vishnu mirror his image to the universal form, less in form of Hiranyagarbha. So therefore it is called as Brahma Jyoti. Okay, because Brahma Jyoti is throughout the universe. So it is there also. Where this creation is happening is within Brahma Jyoti only. No? At the corner of spiritual sky. So everything is happening there. So it is within Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti is there. It is Brahma Jyoti means impersonal. There is no form, but it is made on the form of Garva. I told you not two. Kalpayanti means two, direct and indirect. So this is referring to the indirect, which they conceive as form, but it is not a form. But because it is Garbhodaksha Vishnu source, that is direct. So he's saying Lord is the source, like sun illuminates everything by heat and light. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu illuminates all the creation to this universal form. Garbhodaksha, Hiranyagarbha. Not rays, it is in his body, it is formed. First is in the body, it is formed. In the body, then it goes into the lotus. With the lotus, it comes. When lotus comes out, it goes with it. Lotus is shining. See, bro, shining is called Brahma Jyoti. All the shine everywhere, like sunshine also get light from Brahma Jyoti. So it's a Brahma Jyoti light. In the sky also, the sky is blue because of Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti color is blue. Golden. Because of Brahma Jyoti, yes. Because of Brahma Jyoti. Yes. Pradhan is also, we think as dark. Pradhan is also dark blue. Pradhan color is dark blue. This is in Brihad Bhagavatamrit. As Mahavishnu is dark blue, na? Pradhan is the energy state. So it also has color. Exactly. That also, plus elements are also shining. Elements are also there. That is also there. I can show you whatever reference is there. Those elements are also shining there. It's an energy, no? It's shining. Okay. So Brahma Jyoti contains all qualities as well as energies also within it. Which jiva? Those jivas are there which are there, those who are lying in Brahma Jyoti, but they come down. I'm talking about normal Brahma Jyoti rays, means like Krishna's, that one, not this, that way. So those jivas in Brahma Jyoti, Prabhupada says they come down. They don't stay there eternally. Prabhupada quotation is there, Bhagavad Gita 9.25, if you have, there Prabhupada writes, even the liberationists fall from Brahma Jyoti. Plus letter to Rupanuga, July 24, 1969.
But in the last month, Kanai Krishnapur took session. In that he was explaining that the one who attains Sahaji Mukti, he goes to
Hmm.
Brahma Jyoti and he never comes.
But then what about Swarupa of Jiva then? If you, once he told me, I told him that which chapter it is that. The chapter is of Krama Mukti. Okay? It's of that only, na, person is getting liberation. So every Acharya bring out a particular point. So Jiva Goswami is bringing out the point that it is eternal in the sense, for them it is eternal. So Prabhupada writes, no, for us it is not eternal. Okay, like Brahma Jyoti 14th chapter, Brahmano hi pratistham is a Sashvatasya dharma, says source of ultimate happiness. But is Brahma Jyoti is a source of ultimate happiness? No. But in compared to three modes, it is source of ultimate happiness. But Prabhupada's letter, Prabhupada says, no, even the liberation is fall in the purport. Falls from Brahma Jyoti 9.25 purport it is. Plus letter to Rupanuga July 24. Somebody may say that from Brahma Jyoti, Narad Muni and Shivji come. For that, there is no reference, but he said it will go. Then how it is eternal if he's passing Brahma Jyoti then? That way also it is not eternal. Right? First you say Brahma Jyoti is eternal. Then is passing through Brahma Jyoti, then how it is eternal? Because there is something higher. Right? No? And still Prabhupada says, in letter to Rupanuga, July 24, 1969, Prabhupada writes, there is no provision to go ahead from Brahma Jyoti. Now you decide who is Prabhupada. So I follow what Prabhupada is writing. So he is not writing. So you connect the points. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad, that also he writes in the letter. In Bhagavad, it is written that whoever goes to Brahma Jyoti, they fall down. They don't have, because they don't have service attitude there. How can they? They are just, and they are feeling inconvenience like ghosts. People have the ghost body. They feel inconvenience because they don't have body.
See, that's what we have always read in Prabhupada books also.
So then you
So
connect.
that's why it became very confusing last month.
Why
when-
confusing, bro?
Because he was quoting from Acharya's commentaries. And
So what happened? Acharya brings us a particular point. So whatever Acharya is speaking, you see, if you imagine if a Krama Mukti person, if you tell them Brahma Jyoti is not eternal, then will he go? Will he aspire? Just tell me this. Will he aspire what? तो उसके लिए eternal नहीं तो भागो यहाँ से कौन जाएगा ऊपर? So for him it is eternal. He is speaking from his perspective. But Prabhupada writes no, during those chapter purports only you see, Prabhupada writes for the devotee it is not. Same liberation, like for example, in Upanishad it is said, there is a verse like this, that one should attain immortality by doing some duties or prescribed duties, one will attain immortality. Now for Karmi, the immortality will be heaven. For the Jnani, the immortality will be Brahma Jyoti merging. For the Dhyani, it will be Paramatma. For the devotee, it will be back to Godhead. How can you say then, immortality? There are four practitioners and there are four goals they define differently. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. You can tell me, no, Prabhupada is not right. You can tell like this, then Jiva Goswami is right.
The same point, because we attended that class, maybe you could once ask Kanai Krishna Prabhu how he quoted so many acharyas, and he in fact said that when outsiders, scholars, they ask how your Swami is saying like that, then one of us at least has to answer it. That when the Jiva goes in Brahma Jyoti, then he remains there only. Very rarely he may, even if there is Narad Muni and other sages, they try to explain to him, he may not agree to come and perform devotional service. Like that, many things he said. So then,
Actually, I know I was sitting in that class.
huh?
I was also sitting in the car in that class.
Acha, you were attending online.
No, I was sitting in the camp also. He said the same thing.
Acha, so then what?
So before that, he asked me. I told him, Prabhu, it's not like that. Don't say Brahma Jyoti is eternal. How could be eternal? Then what is the Sarupa of a Jiva? That is Krishna and Nitya Das. It is there, no? This statement. Then I said everything is then false. If it is eternal, then uska Swarup, then how will he go? He said from there, okay, if he says from there it goes, still it is not eternal, no? Because it's passing through the Brahma Jyoti. How it is eternal anyhow? But he's saying if it is eternal, then what about the Swarupa of Jiva? Then he quoted one verse that Jiva Goswami said that Brahma Jyoti is eternal. For other thing, I don't know, I don't know. That day he didn't quote it. He just said Narad Muni and Lord Shiva, they will come. but for that I don't know. He didn't quote, but some brahmachari got disturbed there. So they asked me. I showed him these references. If you want, I'll read it. What Prabhupada is saying. So then I follow one of my friend. He told me later Acharya clarifies previous Acharya. So whatever I study, I take Prabhupada's conclusion and I join those statements like this. Because
Oh.
Prabhupada in the purport writes, but he's quoting it is eternal, but that I gave you example no 14.27 that Brahman's happiness is Shashwat, but in that chapter it is in relation to three modes, it is Shashwat.
Brahma Jyoti is eternal. The Jiva stay over there,
Yeah.
you are saying is not eternal.
Not eternal. To Jiva, how long it will stay? Prabhupada, if you want, I'll read the letter loudly. Then you decide.
Now we are confused because last time somehow he convinced us against our earlier understanding of
No,
Prabhupada,
but-
which matches with your current.
But he
thing.
didn't. I
Now-
spoke to him. I didn't agree with him at all. I said, I follow. What is that? You
So
may
now
quote
what
anything.
should we do?
I prove you decide my thing.
No,
I-
whatever is truth, we are ready to accept. But then now we are bewildered about the truth.
No, but I follow. Besides, see, Prabhu, what he was discussing with me in the beginning. I said, Prabhu, it is not like this. But he said, no, Prabhu, you have not read Sanskrit. He told me. I said, okay, you carry. I follow. Whatever I study, I keep Prabhupada's books and purports as conclusion. Then I called Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu also that what to do. Vidwan Gaurang, no, Prabhupada said. Then he only told me, then what about Swarupa of Jiva? Why? How can we address this? He said, no, Prabhupada said, we follow Prabhupada's every purport as Shastra. And I'll read that. Prabhupada writes in Bhagavat, he said, in Bhagavat Puran, it is written that there is no provision to go ahead because they don't have desire. They fall down.
So could you do you have connection with contact with our Chaitanya Charan Prabhu? You don't have? Could you please talk to him and some 2-3 more SAC members, at least maybe one Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, like you talked about now with one Gaurang Prabhu.
I just spoke to
So
him.
like that, could you speak to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu also and tell us the truth eventually? Now we'll go ahead.
No. No, Prabhu, but Chaitanya, how can he will not talk? I'm a very small person. He's a very
No,
big.
you can tell that this was, we are asking this question to SAC committee on behalf of BVRV, all the students, the confusion arose. You can tell him like that. He will answer.
I know SAC people, they are like Hari Parshad Prabhu. Some people,
Okay, Hari Parsha Prabhu also you can contact.
they have the same opinion, Shaji.
They have same opinion as
I think so.
Kanai Krishna
I
Prabhu.
may be wrong, but I think so. They have.
But just once you,
Check if I'll meet
and
him.
maybe Chaitanya Champru also. You, Bhanuswami also, chalo. You, Gaurang Darshan, my God. Kamal Lochan Prabhu also.
And because I hear from Prabhupada disciple only, so they say Brahmajyoti people come down. So for me, it's enough. I'll ask for all
You
of you.
ask and,
Actually, I asked.
Bhanu,
Actually,
he's saying, Dashrath Priya Prabhu is saying that Bhanu Maharaj says that he stays in Brahma Jyoti only, eternally.
he's saying, no, Bhanu Maharaj did not spoke from his mouth. He's quoting him. So I don't know. See, I'll read 9.25 here. Second last line. Even the impersonalist fall from Brahma Jyoti. Then again, I'll show you letter to Rupanuga. If you have folio, July 24, 1969. So there is, I don't know, Prabhupada. He asked me, I said, I didn't agree with him. He may quote anything. So, but Prabhupada,
See, if you could talk to some of the SAC committee members.
I'm not, Prabhuji, I don't know Sanskrit.
Huh?
I don't know Sanskrit. They are very big people.
No, but like Chaitanya Champru also, I don't think knows so much Sanskrit.
I have no really contact with him. Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu, I have personal number. So he's like he's a senior, but he's a good friend of me. So this thing I told him, he said, how can he say like this? He's saying, how can he say like this? But Prabhupada is clearly saying. So
what should we do? We are confused.
So I follow this principle, Prabhu. Once Bhakti Vidyapur Maharaj is saying, later Acharya clarifies previous Acharya.
This is again like maybe that something, whether Jiva fell from Vaikuntha or never, not
No,
even a leaf.
That's what I said, no, Prabhu. Jiva Goswami is speaking to that person in relation to that Karma Mukti person. For him, it is eternal. Simple. For us, it is no eternal. Brahma Jyoti is eternal, but Mukti for us, how can it be eternal? For us, it is the intermediary platform. For them, it is eternal. For us, because we, like in the 14.26 Bhagavad Gita, that
Nay,
devotee.
see, all of us were fully convinced that the jiva falls from, means if he goes to Brahma Jyoti, impersonal liberation, he has to come down because Nai Kashi Shanamapi, there is no this thing. All that was there. But last class, our Kanai Krishna Prabhu spoke from here, there, so many places. So then we accepted it in that way.
So it's up to you, Prabhuji. I don't know. I'm
Okay,
not saying
ठीक है,
you.
so now we'll go ahead. Maybe some
I'll just
students.
read. I'll read one paragraph. Letter to. You have read this letter to Rupanuga.
By Prabhupada.
Hmm.
See, Prabhupada, from his, see, what you are saying, that's what our understanding conviction was till we attended that class of Kanai Krishna Prabhu. That's where the whole shift took place.
So, but that's one of I.
Now also we are open, but we basically want very authentic
No.
explanation. That's all. To go ahead.
But
Because ultimately we don't
Prabhuji-
want to go to Brahma Jyoti
Prabhuji-
anyway. But while preaching what to preach,
No, but Prabhuji, you see, no. See, there is same statement like this. 14.27 that Brahman's happiness is eternal. But is it happiness is eternal? No, na. Right. For us, it is like a happiness compared to devotion service. The Brahman happiness is like a, very small. But there it is written eternal. Eternal for those who want to achieve that crossing three modes. And devotee also come to that stage, but that is different. So I told, see, he quotes Jiva Goswami that I know. So I told him that for a Krama Mukti, it is eternal. He's saying no. I said, you follow.
Okay, ठीक है, maybe one of us will try to contact some of the SAC members.
Anyway,
We'll go ahead. Otherwise, this is like unresolved and a lot of time is going maybe.
One question from online from Vasudev Krishna Prabhu. Why Sahajya Mukti is considered as spiritual suicide?
Sahijya.
Mukti is considered as spiritual suicide.
Sahijya means merging into supreme. Spiritual suicide. Because there is no service there. We cannot develop devotion service. So it's like spiritual suicide. See, same thing Prabhupada writes. See, I'll tell you. Regarding a question, what is the difference between spirit soul comprising the Brahma Jyoti and the spirit soul here in Maya? In the Brahma Jyoti, the spirit soul, on account of their impersonal views, are devoid of body because they have their views. Exactly like here in Maya, there are ghosts who are devoid of any gross bodies. The ghost being devoid of body, he suffers terribly because he is unable to satisfy senses. The spirit souls in Brahma Jyoti, although they have no desire for sense gratification, still they feel inconvenience like the ghost. They fall down again in the Maya's atmosphere and develop the material body. In the Bhagavad Puran, therefore, it is said that person who are impersonalist and do not develop dormant devotional attitude, their intelligence is not pure because for a want of spiritual body, they come down again to the material world. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that by the Lord that the only way of not coming back to the material world is to be promoted to spiritual planets. Otherwise, wherever you will come. Prabhupada quoted Bhagavad Puran, then he quoted Bhagavad Gita. For the impersonalist, there is no such assurance of not falling down in the whole Vedic literature. So what will you say? So, the conclusion is that without developing spiritual body, without being situated on one of the spiritual planets, the so-called liberation is also illusion and it's not complete. For them, it is eternal, bro. So I told him. He said no.
What, as I said, we are not going to go to Brahma Jyoti. But while preaching, what to preach? Because he formally says, and he's SAC member also, authority. So now what? That's why we want just final conclusion. Basically what?
If you want my opinion, I will say those people fall from Brahma Jyoti.
ठीक है, चलो, maybe some of the students will take initiative in finding out whatever the final
I'll
conclusion.
just finish this paragraph. A spirit soul who falls down from Brahma Jyoti to the kingdom of Maya may have a chance of associating with a pure devotee and then he may be elevated to spiritual planets of Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan. From the Brahma Jyoti, there is no direct promotion to the spiritual planets. And it is clearly stated in the Bhagavatam that such souls fall down patanti adha.
We were of the same opinion till we attended Kanai Krishna Prabhu's that class.
Prabhu, I also attended. The same thing was quoting. I said, "Arey, kya bol raha hai?" Matlab, he was quoting. Sorry. Actually, first, before, so I don't know, he was doing research. I don't know how he.
Okay, no problem. We'll go ahead now and we'll have to contact some of the SAC
He
members.
just told me, "You don't know Sanskrit, to keep quiet." So I said, "Okay, fine." I didn't say.
That's why I was thinking Chaitanya Champuru also doesn't know Sanskrit so much. So his opinion would be a bit clarifying.
So I asked Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu is well versed in Prabhupada books, plus he knows Sanskrit. So he told me, Prabhu, this is not.
Could you tell him to just in our this class only, maybe if he could come online
I'll
for
tell him.
10-15 minutes,
Yes, I'll tell
then
him.
that would clarify.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I'll tell him.
thank you.
I'll tell him. Sorry, Prabhu, please forgive me. I'm not belittling anybody, but he's really my good friend and he knows, but certain things I don't agree. Because Prabhupada, that's the principle in Nectar of Devotion. Bro. Later Acharya clarifies previous such. Okay, he said that is eternal. Agreed? Okay. But then later he said that Narad Muni and Shivji comes, from there he goes. Right now he said like this. Right? Travel through, so they. But my point is then this first statement is getting counteracted. Now how then is it is eternal? It becomes intermediary because he's going ahead. So therefore, who Narad Muni? They are not impersonalists, but he's saying that they deliver them. But they don't have that desire. No, Prabhupada is clearly saying they don't have that. They are like a ghost. So they don't have desire. Even if they are liberated, okay, agreed. Okay, even if they are liberated by help of Narad Muni and Lord Shiva, then his first statement, Brahma Jyoti as eternal liberation, is not exactly clear, no? Then Brahma Jyoti becomes intermediary because they are liberated. So then eternal, how can you say that the living entity stays there forever? वो तो स्टेटमेंट उसका पहला ही था नहीं बच्चे नहीं ठीक है I'll tell him tomorrow. I'm sorry bro, please forgive me, don't take it as actually it's some
We are heading to Golok Vrindavan only. So I will not at all to Brahma Jyoti. But just we want to know the truth for preaching. What to preach. That's all. So okay, you arrange just you go ahead with your convictions now, no problem. We will not argue on this matter.
No, it's okay. No, sorry bro. No, because problem of Jiva also, all those things. Why it's like Prabhupada and then I follow. The certain things also there are problem of Jiva, Raganuga, Sadhana. When I hear all these things, it's not like kahan se late uta guess. Means Prabhupada, if you read whole Prabhupada things, then you can comment. But then you remove Prabhupada, then is Prabhupada is writing his purpose like this only, what is something in some different mode or what? They say it is for the general public, but who said that? I told Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu that letters are not. He said, no, even in letters, Prabhupada is speaking philosophy, it have to be accepted. Then what is the statement of Jivere Swarup Hai Krishna and Nitya Das? All these things, then it itself is false. Then. Uska Swarup hai na, he cannot stay eternity. Eternal it is there. I once heard Bhakti Dapan Maharaj Bhakti Rasam Sindhu lecture. There it is. That he said there's that there Jiva Goswami quotes that it is eternal, but eternal in relation to the material world. You can hear that lecture. He says like if because in Brahma Jyoti many if somebody living entity is in Brahma Jyoti, on the earth many yugas are going, so many. In that sense it is eternal. That I don't know, but that sense, so I follow that. Anyway, sorry bro. Okay, so we'll read. Okay, here in this purport, Prabhupada writes Tripad and Ekpad about that 75% of the expansive radiation of the Lord is manifested in the spiritual sky, Tripad, and the 25% is personal radiation, comprehends the entire expansion of material universe. If you see the definition of theism in Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy, Theism means godly, partly transcendent and partly immanent. So 3/4 of Lord is transcendence and 1/4 is God is immanence. That's a definition of theism from Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy. Okay. Okay, we'll go to text 18. So amritasya bayasyesho martyam annam yat atyagat महिमा ततो ब्रह्मन् पुरुषस्य दुरत्ययः. Somebody read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the controller of immortality and fearlessness, and he is the transcendental to death and the fruitive actions of the material world. O Narada, O Brahmana, it is therefore difficult to measure the glories of the Supreme Person.
So this verse explains the Purusha Sukta verse. Amritasya vayas yat anona tirohiti. That Lord is a source of all amrita. Amrita means nectar. The Lord himself is whole complete nectar. His body is made of such chit anand. Like you have a nut tree. When we were small, used to get some sweet made of animal, elephant, tiger. So if you eat from leg, eat from head, it is all sweet. So Lord's body right from the head to the toe, it's full of it's full of amrita, full of you know. So here he talks about this same thing, Lord's about 3/4 and 1/4 about Lord's Tripad and Ekpad Vibhuti. Can somebody read the purport?
The glories of the Lord in the transcendental 75% of the Lord's internal potency are stated in the Padma Puran, Uttarkhanda. It is said there that the number of the planets in the spiritual sky, which comprise the 75% expansions of the internal potency of the Lord, is far, far greater than the number of the planets in the total universes composed of the external potency of the Lord.
Yeah, so in 3/4 it is composed by internal, and in the 1/4 it is controlled by external energy of the Lord. So here, in between this paragraph, here Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Lord is a Lord of immortality, or in other words, the Lord is immortal, and because he is the Lord of immortality, he can award immortality to his devotees. In Bhagavad Gita 18.16, the Lord assures that whoever may go to his abode of immortality shall never return to this mortal land of threefold miseries. The Lord is not like a mundane Lord. A mundane master or Lord never enjoys equally along with his subordinates. Nor is the mundane Lord immortal, nor can he award immortality to his subordinates. Only the Supreme Lord can award immortality to his subordinates or to his devotees. The Supreme Lord, who is the leader of all living entities, can award all qualities of his personality unto his devotees. So devotees have all the good qualities, which Lord can give all his qualities. He empowers the living entity. Okay. Okay. So what is this happiness? Prabhupada also write, happiness is the nature of spirit soul, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, Anandamayo Bhyasat. The spirit is by nature full of happiness. Happiness is the spiritual nature always, increases in volume with a new phase of appreciation. There is no question of decreasing the bliss. Such unalloyed spiritual bliss is nowhere to be found within the orbit of material universe, including Janalok, for that matter, the Maharlok or Satyalok planets, because even Lord Brahma is subject to the laws of fruitive action, laws of birth and death. So happiness means the highest happiness is the happiness of devotion service or happiness of serving the Lord. In material world, there is one unit of happiness. When one unit measure of happiness, when king like Parikshit Maharaj or what is this, Yudhishthir Maharaj, they are ruling that time. It's the people experience one unit measure of happiness. And if you multiply by 100, the happiness multiplied by 100, it's a happiness of Gandharvas, human Gandharvas. Happiness multiplied by 100, it is a happiness of celestial Gandharvas. Happiness multiplied by 100, it is a happiness of heavenly planet, Indra. Happiness multiplied like this, it goes above. So, okay, so now in text 19, the Brahma ji will explain about the material universe. Like it, he will explain from 19 to 22 Ekpad and versus Tripad Vibhuti. So how now in 17, 18 he described Ekpad. Now he's described that Tripad Vibhuti is free from all the material miseries, but it is characterized by Amritam, Shemam and Abhayam. So he will talk about Tripad Vibhuti. Okay. Padeshu Sarvabhutani Pumsa Sthiti Pado Vidhu Amritam Shemam Abhayam Trimurdhanodhyaya Murdashu.
The
Translation.
Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be known as the supreme reservoir of all material opulences by the 1/4 of his energy, in which all the living entities exist. Deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from the anxieties of old age and disease exist in the kingdom of God, which is beyond the 3 higher planetary systems and beyond the material coverings.
Yes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that this verse explain Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Amritam Di. The Tripad means three-fourth. So he's saying the three-fourth, yes, the three-fourth, three-fourth of Lord's spiritual world is by 3 vibhutis. So Prabhupada write what are those vibhutis? Sandhini, Samvit, Alladini. So previous class I said everything here in this purport. That Lord as Swarup Shakti has 3 components, Sandhini, Samvit, Alladini. It is minutely presented in Jiva, Sandhini, Samvit, Alladini, and it is reflected in the material world, Samvit, Sandhini, and Alladini. Sandhini is existential, Samvit is knowledge, and Alladini is pleasure potency. Okay, so you'll all this in the purport. Corner means if you take as 100, Chetan Jambu was saying that if you take whole complete 100, so 3/4 will be material, 1/4 will be corner means 1/4 of that part. Anywhere it can be 1/4 of that part. Where Prabhupada says is the corner, so we take as corner. Most people are in. The 1/4, see, Prabhupada is make us understanding of the jail. He's not saying that 1/4 people are in the jail. So, but compared to the area, it is 1/4 from the 3/4. So, jail example is this Prabhupada is giving to tell us that how the spiritual world is there big as a state.
Yeah, but
And-
why will we want to make a something which is actually not so important?
Which not so
Like
important.
Lord has made the spiritual world. The spiritual world has all the positive side, and if fewer people are coming here, then this will not be 1/4. That means it is 1/4 by size. If you see the diagram also, which is made by any BBT publication, वो उतना बड़ा दिखा के वो नीचे ऐसे छोटा सा दिखाते हैं वो, no? And then when we expand that whole thing, then we see all that like whatever Mahavishnu is. But actually, from the spiritual world comparison, it's not 1/4 that way. So are we showing it just for the sake of?
You are saying from the spiritual point of view, it is not 1/4.
No. Spiritual point of view, in principle, the material world is the smaller.
So, but this is in the verse, no, bro.
That's what I always wanted to ask. Verse is there, right?
So 1/4 is there. So we 100% we don't know complete. What is the total of spiritual and material 100%? So if you take and 100% approximate some 100% out of 100%, 1/4 will be the material world. 100% total we don't know. So 1/4 is the material world. It is there, so it is there. So it is not from any angle, it is there 1/4. Scripture said it is 1/4. Now total 100%. Chaitanya one he said during one of his class that spiritual world is total 100% and material world total 100%. We don't know. So even 1/4 of material universe is very big. Compared to spiritual, it is 1/4. So 100% we don't know how it is. But still, now spiritual world we say it's eternal, no? unlimited. Still, as a, like, if at the corner somewhere, but there is no corner, no. So Brahma Samhita explained at the corner of Golok there are 8 gems, there are tridents. So means that also there means somewhere there must be. It is eternal, but there must be some corner. That is the. Exactly, like exactly. What is
Purport. Actually, what is there in the book which I have got now, BBT has changed the sentence. It is said that there are those planets in the spiritual sky which comprise 75%. ऐसे लिखा है. And अभी जो purport पढ़ा उसमें लिखा है number of planets. So number of planets in the material world will always keep changing because the number of exhalation, after exhalation, how many planets Brahmandas came out, in that planets come out. But in the spiritual world, there are eternal planets. So if we calculate from the number of planets, then the 1/4 energy is collapsing only into Mahatattva. So then how can we calculate number of planets as the 1/4 Vibhuti?
say number of planets, but he's not giving the numbers, no. He's saying number of planets in the sense compared to there are some in numbers. Spiritual world is eternal.
Mahavishnu in us, there is no planet, no, then.
Exactly.
So then there is nothing to compare with 1/4 and 3/4.
No, that period we are just talking about when it is created. He is winding up after certain period compared to Mahavishnu's winding up is one breath. There's a verse in Brahma Samhita, no? Yasaika nisratha athavalambya. So that breath compared to spiritual world is just nothing also. It's very is insignificant. So even material world is compared to spiritual world is insignificant.
Yeah,
But
but
for us,
what is 1/4 and what is 3/4 in terms of, is it numbers or is it the, like, potency word is a very generic word.
okay.
If we say number of planets, it becomes a very specific way of denoting that potency.
So numbers, that's what I'm saying. The total is 100%, but out of 100%, whatever it is, there is 1/4 in compared to spiritual world. In that sense, it is 1/4. Not on numbers, nothing. Because from Mahavishnu's body, unlimited universes come. So 100% we don't know now of 1/4. Of 1/4, 100%, that only don't know. So what is B? So just if you assume as 100%, if you take what will be the 1/4 of 100%? That much. So, but that total is not known, na bro. So even material universes are many. So it's like this. So Prabhupada says numbers means when compared to spiritual, at least they are in numbers. Spiritual world is little unlimited, more than this, in that sense.
Because BBT only, no, I think this is an older publication. It is not writing numbers.
So hardly it makes difference.
Doesn't mean.
No, does it make any difference?
It makes a difference
How?
because you're denoting the potency by a particular parameter, which is number of planets. When
See,
here it is not mentioned.
so then you see they are saying numbers of planet, but he's not giving the numbers. No, why don't you? He's not saying the 100 number of planets.
No,
15.
say Mahatattva itself is a potency, of the Lord. Mahatattva is a potency.
Right.
You cannot denote it by number, but you can say that it is 1/4 Vibhuti of the Lord.
Yeah, but within Mahatattva, the universe are in numbers.
So, but it will expand and collapse, no? That number.
So yet it expand and collapse, but when it is present, it is in numbers, no?
Okay.
That expand and collapse is okay, but when it is present, it is in numbers. So it talking about the universe which is present. If I Prabhupada will talk about universe which is wound up in the Mahavishnu's body. He's just saying this is numbers compared to spiritual world. That is unlimited. That is. No, it's okay. Okay, can somebody read the purport?
Out of the total manifestations of the Sandhini energy of the Lord, 1/4 is displayed in the material world and 3/4 are displayed in the spiritual world. The Lord's energy is divided into three component parts, namely Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini. In other words, he is the full manifestation of existence, knowledge, and bliss. In the material world, such a sense of existence, knowledge, and pleasure is meagerly exhibited, and all living entities who are minute parts and parcels of the Lord are eligible to relish such consciousness of existence, knowledge, and bliss very minutely in the liberated stage. Whereas in the conditional stage of material existence, they can hardly appreciate what is the factual, existing, existential, cognizable, and pure happiness of life. The liberated souls who exist in far greater numerical strength than those souls in the material world can factually experience the potency of the above mentioned Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini energies of the Lord in the matter of deathlessness, fearlessness, and freedom from old age and disease. In the
Yes,
material
so
world,
I told you na Sandhini Samvit here reflected as ignorance, passion, and goodness. Perverted reflected. Huh? And in living entity, it's in a very small. Okay, read. In the material world,
in the material world, the planetary systems are arranged in three spheres called Trilok or Swarga, Martya, and Patal, and all of them constitute only 1/4 of the total Sandhini energy. Beyond that is the spiritual sky, where the Vaikuntha planets exist beyond the coverings of 7 material strata. In none of the Trilok planetary systems can one experience the status of immortality, full knowledge, and full bliss.
so you got this three, how this energy, Sandhini, Samvit, Alladin, in Swarup Shakti, all the spiritual world and its knowledge, and in material world when they are reflected, ignorance, passion, goodness, pervertedly reflect. And when they are reflected in material world, they also Sandhini, Samvit, Allah. Clear? So Prabhupada is writing the total Sandhini, all this material world consists of 1/4 of total Sandhini energy. It's everything is 1/4 in relation to spiritual world. Previous paper to what?
It was in the
No.
previous purport that it was written number of planets.
Here it is in total universe.
टोटल एनर्जी में लिखोगे तो वो ब्रॉड टर्म्स हो गई.
हाँ बराबर, लेकिन वो 1/4 एनर्जी में तो मटेरियल प्लैनेट्स ही है ना. Anyway, it's okay, sorry. Yeah. So we go. Okay, we'll go to next verse. Padastrayo bahishchasan aprajanam ya ashramaha antastri lokyastva aparo grahamedo brihadvrataha.
The spiritual world, which consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy, is situated beyond this material world, and it is specially meant for those who will never be reborn. Others who are attached to family life and who do not strictly follow celibacy vows must live within the 3 material worlds.
Yeah, so they here the 3/4 here, the Purusha Sukta's next verse is explained here. Tripad Urda Vadai Purusha. So 3/4 is consist of Lord's spiritual energy. And here Jiva Goswami says that who attain to that 3/4, those person who belongs to, who have no offspring, like belongs to Brahmachari, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Then since even Grihasthas can go, Prabhupada writes, if he is after 50 years, if he goes to into Vana, Panchashordam Vanamrajayat, then he can also achieve that, because there he follows. So then Prabhupada writes, unless and until a Grihastha is trained in Brahmachari ashram, he cannot leave the family life after 50 years. See here, you can write, see this second paragraph, fifth line, a householder attached to a family.
A householder attached to family life can easily give up such a life of sex indulgence if he has been trained in the principles of the life of a brahmachari.
A householder is recommended to quit home at the end of 50 years, Panchos Dhavam Vanam Vrajet, and live a life in the forest. Then, being fully detached from family affection, he may accept the order of renunciation as a sannyasi fully engaged in the service of the Lord. Any form of religious principle in which the followers are trained to pursue the vow of celibacy is good for the human being, because only those who are trained in that way can end the miserable life of material existence.
So in the beginning of proper, this is for the grasta. In the beginning of proper, proper speaks about, this, how this varnashram system is meant to use it in Lord service and go and to release the soul from bodily engagement and to go to spiritual world. And then next, before householder, he talks about brahmachari. How a brahmachari student, he follows strictly a vow of celibacy, then he can attain to the Lord's 3/4 of energy, spiritual world. Okay. Okay, we'll go to text 21. Striti vichakrame vishwan shashana nasane ubhe yad avidya cha vidya cha purushastubhya ashrayah.
By his energies, the all-pervading personality of Godhead is thus comprehensively the master in the activities of controlling and in devotional service. He is the ultimate master of both nations and factual knowledge of all situations.
Yeah, so here, the this verse of Purusha Shukta, Tato Vishwan Vyakamrate Shashana Nashane, that verse meaning is explained in this text. So what is that? That Jiva takes two paths. One path is of liberation, and one path is for enjoyment. So there's two paths. So where if he takes the path of enjoyment, that is called Nishayans, Avidya. So he stays in the material world. And one path of liberation, that is Vidya, or Prabhupada writes the devotion service, then he goes to spiritual world. Can somebody read the purport?
The word Viswan is significant in this verse. One who travels perfectly in every field of activity is called the Purusha or Kshetragya. These two terms, Kshetragya and Purusha, are equally applicable to both the individual self and the Supreme Self, the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 13.3, the matter is explained as follows. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi सर्व क्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ ज्ञानम यत् ज्ञानम matam mama. Kshetra means the place, and one who knows the place is called the Kshetragya. The individual self knows about his limited field of activities, but the Supreme Self, the Lord, knows about the unlimited field of activities. The individual soul knows about his own thinking, feeling, and willing activities, but the super soul or the Paramatma, the supreme controller, being present everywhere, knows everyone's thinking, feeling, and willing activities. And as such, the individual living entity is the minute master of his personal affairs, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of everyone's affairs, past, present, and future. Veda harms Samatitani, etc. Only the ignorant person does not know this difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities, as distinguished from incognizant matter, may be qualitatively equal to the Lord in cognizance, but the living entity can never be equal to the Lord in full knowledge of past, present, and future.
Yes, so Prabhupada is talking about the Kshetra. There is there are two knower of the field. One is the soul, one is the super soul. So Prabhupada is giving a distinction. And next further in the purports, Prabhupada writes, those who take to the part of devotional service, okay, they are qualified to go to Tripad Vibhuti, and these actions are like the Kshetra for them is working for it is Tripad Vibhuti. But those who are following Avidya, Their Kshetra is field of Nishayans, that is the material world. So in every activity, there are four things: identity, field, process, and the goal. Okay. Identity, field, process, and the goal. So that is called Shankarshan. When you follow the process, that is Vasudev. And when you achieve the goal, that is Aniruddha. Aniruddha is a lot of mind, Vasudev is a lot of consciousness, Shankarshan is a lot of identity, ego, and Pradyumna is a lot of intelligence. So Shankarshan has four aspects: knowledge of identity, knowledge of field, knowledge of process, and knowledge of goal. So when you have all these things, then you are ready to work. When you work, when you inspire, when you feel like to work in that particular field, so then that is Pradyumna comes into picture. A lot of intelligence, lot of desire. When you follow the process, you follow with consciousness. That is Vasudev. And when you achieve the goal is experienced in your mind. That is Aniruddha. Okay. Okay, verse 23 to 33. Performing sacrifice by using creation in the Lord's service. So all this creation which is created within the universal form, the Devatas, Brahmaji will use, he will tell, he's telling normally, I use those ingredients for the sacrifice, I got it from the limbs of the Lord, and then he use it for Lord's service. And Prabhupada gives in the example of Ganga, like we use Ganga water and we offer it to Ganga. So similar way, Brahmaji is using the ingredients of sacrifice which are coming from the limbs of the Lord and is using for Lord's service. Okay, text 22. Yasmat andam virajagye bhutendriya gunatmakah tadravyam atyagad vishwam gobi surya ivaptapan. Read the translation.
Translation. From the personality of Godhead, all the universal globes and universal form with all material elements, qualities, and senses are generated. Yet he is aloof from such material manifestations like the sun, which is separate from its rays and heat.
So from the Lord as a personality, Lord is aloof from all this material universal form. From the Lord is aloof from this universal form. Okay, because Lord is always in his spiritual potency. Okay, can somebody read the purport?
Purport. The supreme truth has been ascertained in the previous verse as the Purusha or Purushottam, the supreme person. The absolute person is Iswara, the supreme controller, by his different energies. The Ekapad Vibhuti manifestations of the material energy of the Lord is just like one of the many mistresses of the Lord by whom the Lord is not so much attracted, as indicated in the language of Gita, Bhinna Prakriti. But the region of the Tripad Vibhuti, being a pure spiritual manifestation of the energy of the Lord, is so to speak more attractive and to him.
So mistresses means like many mistresses in Tattva Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami, Tattva Sandarbha, Baldev Vidyabhushan gives one example, the relation between Lord's internal and external energy. So Lord's external energy is like a maid servant, that is spiritual Durga. So what the people of this world worship, they worship the material Durga. So the spiritual Durga is a devotee. She's a mistress of the Lord. Like the queen is allowed in the inner quarters of the Lord, and the Durga and the maid servant is allowed in the outer quarters. She's not allowed in the inner quarters. So Durga is like this. She's a shadow. She's standing behind. So there is verse in Brahma Samhita 5.44. There it is written in the shloka. The mantra of that verse talks about spiritual Durga, and in the paragraph, in the purport, last paragraph, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes, the people of the world worship the Durga, which is the shadow of that spiritual Durga. Okay, can you continue reading?
The Lord therefore generates the material manifestations by impregnating the material energy, and then within the manifestation, he expands himself as the gigantic form of Vishwarup. The Vishwarup, as it is shown to Arjun, is not the original form of the Lord. The original form of the Lord is transcendental form of Purushottam or Krishna himself. It is very nicely explained here in that he expands himself just like the sun. The sun expands itself by its terrible heat and rays, yet the sun is always aloof from such rays and heat. The impersonalist takes into consideration the rays of the Lord without any information of the tangible, transcendental, eternal form of the Lord known as Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, in his supreme personal form with two hands and flute, is bewildering for the impersonalist who can accommodate only the gigantic Vishwarup of the Lord. They should know that the rays of the sun are secondary to the sun. And similarly, the impersonal gigantic form of the Lord is also secondary to the personal form of Purushottam. And the Brahma Samhita, it is 5.37, confirms this statement as follows. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhabhitabhis Tabhir Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloko Eva Nivasati Akhilatma Bhuto Govindam Adipurusam Tamaham Bhajami. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, the one who enlivens the senses of everyone by his personal bodily rays, resides in his transcendental abode called Golok. Yet he is present in every nook and corner of his creation by expansion of happy spiritual rays, equal in power to his personal potency of bliss. He is therefore simultaneously.
Spiritual rays also has power. Okay, read.
He is therefore simultaneously personal and impersonal by his inconceivable potency, or he is the one without a second, displaying complete unity in a diversity of material and spiritual manifestations. He is separate from everything and still nothing is different from him.
Yes. Okay, text 23. Yadasya nabayana nalinat aham asham mahatmanah naviddam yagya sambharan purushavyavan rite.
Purushavayavandrute. When I was born from the abdominal lotus flower of the Lord Mahavishnu, the great person, I had no ingredients for sacrificial performances except the bodily limbs of the great personality of Godhead.
Yes. Can somebody read the purport?
Lord Brahma, the creator of the cosmic manifestation, is known as Swayambhu, or one who is born without father and mother. The general process is that a living creature is born out of the sex combination of the male father and the female mother. But Brahma, the firstborn living being, is born out of the abdominal lotus flower of the Mahavishnu plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. The abdominal lotus flower is part of the Lord's bodily limbs, and Brahma is born out of the lotus flower. Therefore, Lord Brahma is also a part of the Lord's body. Brahma, after his appearance in the gigantic hollow of the universe, saw darkness and nothing else. He felt perplexity, and from his heart he was inspired by the Lord to undergo austerity, thereby acquiring the ingredients for sacrificial performances. But there was nothing besides the two of them, namely the personality of Mahavishnu and Brahma himself, born of the bodily part of the Lord. For sacrificial performances, many ingredients were in need, especially animals. The animal sacrifice is never meant for killing the animal, but for achieving the successful result of the sacrifice. The animal offered in the sacrificial fire is, so to speak, destroyed, but the next moment it is given a new life by dint of the Vedic hymns chanted by the expert priest. When such an expert priest is not available, the animal sacrifice in the fire of sacrificial altar is forbidden. Thus, Brahma created even the sacrificial ingredients out of the bodily limbs of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, which means that the cosmic order was created by Brahma himself. Also, nothing is created out of nothing, but everything is created from the person of the Lord. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabho mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is made from my bodily limbs, and I am therefore the original source of all creations.
Okay, so Brahma is he is the Brahma is telling Narada Muni that he is born from the lotus flower, and that time ingredients were not there. When it was manifested, then he took those ingredients and he worshipped the Lord, and the ingredients were manifest from the limb of the Lord. Okay, so we go to text 24. Here it is said Brahma comes from Mahavishnu, no? So I told you that day. Prabhupada writes in CC that the oneness. Mahavishnu Prabhupada writes to show that all these three Vishnu are one only. They are one person but different personalities. But it's one person. Prabhupada in CC. Right. Okay. Teshu yagyasya pashavaha savanaspataya kushaha idam cha deva yajnanam kalaschoru gunanvitaha.
Kalaschoro gunanvita. For performing sacrificial ceremonies, one requires sacrificial ingredients such as flowers, leaves, and straw, along with the sacrificial altar and a suitable time, spring.
Yeah, so everything for the sacrifice ingredients, it's for what are the things required for sacrifice that is mentioned. Okay, read this. There's no purport. Okay, text 25. Vastuni oshadhya sneha rasaloha mrado jalam richo yajum sisamani chaturhotram cha sattama.
Chaturhotram sa sattama. Other requirements are utensils, grains, clarified butter, honey, gold, earth, water, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Samved, and 4 priests to perform the sacrifice.
So 4 priests are Hota, Udgata, Adhurvayu, and Brahma. So Prabhupada writes about them in first 2 lines. Can you read, bro?
Perform a sacrifice successfully, at least 4 expert priests are needed. One who can offer Hota, one who can chant Udgata, one who can kindle the sacrificial fire without the aid of a separate fire, Advaryu, and one who can supervise, Brahma.
Sundar Prabhupada said, what is the real sacrifice for today? The chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So text 26. Namadheyani mantrascha dakshinascha vritani cha devatanu kalpaha sankalpastantrameva cha. Read.
Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense in accordance with the particular scripture for specific purposes and by specific processes.
Read the purport.
The whole process of offering sacrifice is under the category of fruitive action, and such activities are extremely scientific. They mainly depend on the process of vibrating sounds with a particular accent. It is a great science, and due to being out of proper use for more than 4,000 years for want of qualified brahmanas, such performances of sacrifice are no longer effective, nor are they recommended in this fallen age. Any such sacrifice undertaken in this age as a matter of show may simply be a cheating process by the clever priestly order. But such a show of sacrifices cannot be effective at any stage. Fruitive actions is being carried on by the help of material science and to a little extent by gross material help. But the materialistic await a still more subtle advancement in the process of vibrating sounds on which the Vedic hymns are established. Gross material science cannot divert the real purpose of human life. They can only increase the artificial needs of life without any solution to the problems of life. Therefore, the way of materialistic life leads to the wrong type of human civilization. Since the ultimate aim of life is spiritual realization, the direct way of invoking the holy name of the Lord, as mentioned above, is precisely recommended by Lord Chaitanya, and people of the modern age can easily take advantage of this simple process, which is tenable for the condition of the complicated social structure.
Yeah, the sacrifice done for material things, for material things does not last long. So Prabhupada saying real sacrifice means chanting of the holy name, which gives you spiritual advantage. And it is very helpful for the conditioned soul also. Okay, text 27. Gatayo matayaschaiva. Gatayo matayaschaiva. Prayaschitam samarpanam. Purushava yaverete sambraha sambrata maya.
Thus I had to arrange all these necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from the personal bodily parts of the personality of Godhead. By invocation of the demigod's name, the ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and thus compensation and ultimate offering were complete.
Complete. Okay, read purport.
In this verse, special trace is given to the person of the Supreme Lord and not to his impersonal Brahmajyoti as being the source of all supplies. Narayan, the Supreme Lord, is the goal of sacrificial result, and therefore the Vedic hymns are ultimately meant for attaining this goal. Human life is thus made successful by pleasing Narayan and getting entrance into the direct association of Narayan in the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha.
Vaikunta. Okay. Text 28. Iti sambrata sambharaha purushavyaya vairaham tam eva purusham yagyam taneva taneva yajam ishwaram.
Thus, I created the ingredients and paraphernalia for offering sacrifice out of the parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, and I performed the sacrifice to satisfy the Lord.
Yeah, so in the scripture it is said, na yagya vai Vishnu, sacrifice to Vishnu. So this verse refers to the Purusha Shukta verse, that Havisha Yagyam Devahan, Havisha Deva Yagyam Tanvataha, that verse. That meaning is that the demigod offer their sacrifices to the Lord and they get it from the limbs of the Lord. Demigods, they offer sacrifice. Brahmaji is offering, but they offer to demigods. The demigod's name also he invoked. All the names, the previous verse, demigod's name. So to them. What? Lord's body. Virat or universal form. But in Garbhodaksha Vishnu only, because I told you, na, it is referred to him also. Hiranyagarbha refers to actually Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He mirrors his consciousness in that. Him only. So it is referred to him only. Yes. It is coming before universal form manifested. It is manifested in the body of the Lord. So then it is manifested there from his navel. Brahmaji is taking those things. Who? Created means what? Created in the sense that ingredients became manifested by adopting those elements so that he can use it. Because the ingredients are in the subtle state, no? For subtle state, for Garbhodaksha Vishnu, it's like a blueprint. For Brahmaji, it's a real creation. So it created ingredient, but from where? From there. But then he used those ingredients in the Lord's service. Exactly. So Brahmaji says, no. Not basic and complex. Ingredients, see, Lord created those ingredients. They are in the subtle form. So for Brahmaji, that's what I'm saying. For Brahmaji, for the Lord, because being in the higher dimension, these ingredients are in a very subtle form or in a blueprint form. But for the Brahmaji, it's a real creation. So when Brahmaji creating ingredients, from where he's creating, it is coming out from Brahma's body, but it is coming from originally from Hiranyagarbha. So he has to have some ingredients which covered with some earthly water fire elements, and then he can use it. So those ingredients are there. So because before verses Brahmaji says to Narad Muni, I create after the Lord create everything. So I said Lord already created. Brahmaji just put the crayon like child. So like this he puts and he does it. Okay, read the purport.
People in general are always anxious to have peace of mind or peace in the world, but they do not know how to achieve such a standard of peace in the world. Such peace in the world is obtainable by performances of sacrifice and by practice of austerity. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the following prescription is recommended. Muktaram yagyatapasam sarvalokama ishwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. The karma yogis know that the Supreme Lord is the factual enjoyer and the maintainer of all sacrifices and of the austere life. They also know that the Lord is the ultimate proprietor of all the planets and is the factual friend of all living entities. Such knowledge gradually converts the karma yogis into pure devotees of the Lord through the association of unalloyed devotees, and thus they are able to be liberated from the material bondage. Brahma, the original living being within the material world, taught us the way of sacrifice. The word sacrifice suggests dedication of one's own interest for satisfaction of a second person. That is the way of all activities. Every man is engaged in sacrificing his interests for others, either in the form of family, society, community, country, or the entire human society. But perfection of such sacrifices is attained when they are performed for the sake of the Supreme Person, the Lord. Because the Lord is the proprietor of everything, because the Lord is the friend of all living creatures, and because He is the maintainer of the performer of sacrifice, as well as the supplier of the ingredients of sacrifices. It is He only and no one else who should be satisfied in all sacrifices. The whole world is engaged in sacrificing energy for advancement of learning, social upliftment, economic development, and plans for the total improvement of the human condition. But no one is interested in sacrificing for the sake of the Lord, as it is advised in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, there is no peace in the world. If men at all want peace in the world, they must practice sacrifice in the interest of the Supreme Proprietor and the friend of all.
Okay, text 29. Tataste bhratara ime prajanam patayo nava ayajan vyaktam avyaktam purusham susama samahitah.
My dear son, thereafter your 9 brothers, who are the master of living creature, perform the sacrifice with proper ritual to satisfy both the manifested and non-manifested personalities.
So manifested means the manifested personalities means the demigods, and non-manifested means the Lord. Prabhupada writes. Okay, read the purport. Prabhupada writes.
The manifested personalities are the demigod, like the ruler of the heavenly kingdom, Indra and his associates. And the non-manifested personalities is the Lord himself. The manifested personality are mundane controller of the material affair, whereas the non-manifested personality of Godhead is transcendental, beyond the range of material atmosphere. In this age of Kali, the manifested demigod are also not to be seen, for space travel has completely stopped. So both the powerful demigod and the supreme personality of Godhead are non-manifested to the covered eye of the modern man. Modern man modern men went to see everything with their eyes, although they are not sufficiently qualified. Consequently, they disbelieve in the existence of the demigod or or of the supreme God. They should see through the pages of authentic scriptures and should not simply believe their unqualified eyes. Even in these days, God can also be seen by qualified eyes tinged with the ointment of love of God.
Yes, so the Lord can be seen to ointment of love. This premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. So Lord can be seen through the eyes of devotion service. Even in Bhagavad Gita 11.54, bhaktatva ananya saka aham evam vido arjuna. So you can know Lord only through practice of devotion service. Okay, text 30. Tatascha manavah kale इजरे ऋषयो परे पितरो विबुधा दैत्य मनुष्य केतुभिर्विभुम.
Thereafter, the Manus, the fathers of mankind, the great sages, the forefathers, the learned scholars, the Daityas and mankind performed sacrifices meant to please the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. So after Brahma performing, all other people they perform sacrifices to please the Lord. Okay, read the purport.
The Daityas are devotees of the demigods because they want to derive the greatest possible material facilities from them. The devotees of the Lord are Ekanishta, are absolutely attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, they have practically no time to seek the benefits of material facilities because of the realization of their spiritual identity. They are more concerned with spiritual emancipation than with material comforts.
So devotees are always look for spiritual emancipation, or they always look for spiritual progress. Okay, text 31. Narayane Bhagavati Tad idam vishwam ahitam grihita mayuru gunaha sargadao aguna swata.
All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self-sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes.
So yes, so although these universes are situated in his powerful material energies, means it's situated in his universal form or three gunas. Vishwanath Thakur writes it's situated in three gunas: goodness, passion, ignorance. But still, he himself is aloof. Okay. So how is energies in the form of demigods, qualities? So Prabhupada writes in the purport. So this is the question by Narad Muni. Narad Muni asked a question of 2.5.2. Yad Adhisthana, who is the shelter of the universe? So Lord, Brahmaji is answering is the Lord who accepts the material modes of nature or the three gunas, goodness, passion, ignorance, Dravya Shakti, Kriya Shakti, all those. But still himself as a person, he is aloof. Okay, can somebody read the purport?
The question put by Narad before Brahma concerning the sustenance of the material creation is thus answered. Material actions and reactions, as the material scientists can superficially observe, are not basically ultimate truth in the regard to creation, maintenance, and destruction. The material energy is potency of the Lord, which is displayed in time, accepting the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in the form of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. The material energy does work under the supreme spell of his lordship, although he is always transcendental to all such material activities. A rich man can construct a big house by spending his energy in shape of resources, and similarly he destroy a big house by his resources. But the maintenance is always under his personal care. The Lord is the richest of the rich because he is always fully complete in six opulences. Therefore, he is not required to do anything personally, but everything in the material world is carried out by his wishes and direction. Therefore, the entire material manifestation is situated in Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Truth is due to lack of knowledge only. And this fact is clearly explained by Brahmaji, who is supposed to be the creator of the material affair, universal affairs. Brahmaji is the highest authority in the Vedic wisdom, and his assertions in this connection is therefore the supreme information.
Okay. Okay, text 32. Srijami tanna yukto ham haro harati tadvashah
Haro harati tadvashah
vishwam purusha rupena
Vishwam Purusha Rupena
paripati tri shakti drek.
Paripati. By his will, I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form as the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of these three energies.
So this verse also answered like Maharaj, Brahma, Narad Muni is asking Brahmaji that whom do you depend? So Brahmaji is saying that I always depend on Vishnu. So I always depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now in this verse he's speaking that what previous verse it is elaborated here that the creation, maintenance and destruction is done by maintenance is done by Vishnu, and I does the creation, and Lord Shiva does the destruction. Okay, read the purport.
The conception of one without a second is clearly confirmed here. The one is Lord Vasudeva, and only by his different energies and expansions are different manifestations, both in the material and in the spiritual worlds maintained. In the material world also, Lord Vasudeva is everything, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva only. In the Vedic hymns also, the same Vasudeva is held to be supreme. It is said in the Vedas, Vasudeva Paro Brahma, Na Chanyortho Sti Tattvataha. In fact, there is no greater truth than Vasudeva. And Lord Krishna affirms the same truth in the Bhagavad Gita, Mata Parataram Nanyat. There is nothing above me, Lord Krishna. So, the conception of oneness as overly stressed by the impersonalist is also accepted by the personalist devotee of the Lord. The difference is that the impersonalist denies personality in this ultimate issue, whereas the devotee gives more importance to the personality of God. Srimad Bhagavatam explains this truth in the verse under discussion. Lord Vasudeva is one without a second, but because he is all powerful, he can expand himself as well as display his omnipotences. The Lord is described here as omnipotent by three energies, three Shakti Dhrik. So primarily his three energies are internal, marginal and external. This external energy is also displayed in the three modes of goodness, passion and ignorance. Similarly, the internal potency is
Displayed.
also displayed in three spiritual modes, Samvit, Sandhini and Ladini.
So you saw, no? I said Sandhini here as ignorance, Samvit here as passion, and Alladini here as goodness.
The marginal potency or the living entities is also spiritual. Prakritim Vidhime Param. But the living entities are never equal to the Lord. The Lord is Nirastha Samya Atishay. In other words, no one is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. So the living entities, including even such great personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are all subordinate to the Lord. In the material world also, in his eternal form of Vishnu, he maintains and controls all the affairs of the demigods, including Brahma and Shiva.
Shiva. So text. Iti tabhitam tata yathedam anupritchasi nanyad bhagavata kinchet bhavyam sat asadatmakam.
My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have thus explained unto you. And you must know for certain that whatever there is, either as cause or as effect, both in the material and spiritual worlds, is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. So everything, original cause is the Supreme Lord, and for all other cause and effects, the Supreme Lord is the original cause. Okay, read the purport. This last purport.
The complete cosmic situation, both in the material and in the spiritual manifestations of the energies of the Lord, is working and moving first as the cause and then as the effect. But the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Effects of the original cause becomes the causes of other effects, and thus everything, either permanent or temporary, is working as cause and effect. And because the Lord is the primeval causes of all persons and all energies, he is called the cause of all causes, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita as well as in the Bhagavad Gita. The Brahma Samhita 5.1 affirms, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. And in Bhagavad Gita 10.8 it is said, Ham Sarvasya Pravo Matta Sarvam Pravatade Iti Matva Bhajantema Buddha Bhava Samanvita. So the original primal cause is Vigraha, the personal, and the impersonal spiritual effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, is also an effect of the Supreme Brahman, Brahmanohi Pratisthaham, Lord Shri Krishna.
Yes. So from text 34 to 38 now, like we finished, like Brahmaji was using those sacrifice and glorifying the Lord by using those ingredients of the sacrifice from where they had come. Now, after establishing, after saying that Lord is the supreme cause of all causes, then devotion service to the Lord is the ultimate thing. So text 34 to 38, Brahma glorifies devotion service. So we'll see this next class 34 to 38. Okay. Next we'll finish fast. Nothing. Text. Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.